Picky eaters, I know you're out there. I know for me, as long as I can remember, I've always been a picky eater. I don't know exactly where it started, I don't know where it will end, but I do know that this conversation I had helped me to see some of the reasons why I may be as picky of an eater as I am, and hopefully some ways to help me learn to incorporate better and more nutritious things into my diet. I am hopeful that you will enjoy this conversation as much as I did and welcome you to There's Food in the House.
We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. If it's made for the real, it's forever gonna fit. We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. We lit, we ain't never gonna switch. If it's made for the real, it's forever gonna fit. Ooh, if it's lit, then I'm signing up. I just knock them down, Adrian can line them up. If you search for real talk, then you're finding us. Thanks for reminding us, ain't no outshining us, it's different. I know you feeling something missing. Them shows only talk, they don't listen. You need something warm, like a hot meal from the south. Like a summer rain in a drought. Some real talk that can make a nigga proud. Thoughts out loud, we ain't doing it for the clout. That food for the soul, gotta take a different route. You don't need nothing fast, we got food at the house. I'm just saying though, ooh, we got food at the house. Yeah, we got food at the house. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Adrian, your PR diva here, and we want to welcome you to There's Food in the House. This is the podcast where you don't have to ask anyone else about anything else because we have food in the house today. And also, this is near and dear to my heart, this conversation, because when I received the information on our next guest, I was like, oh my gosh, I need some help. So when I heard about Barbara Incognito-Fanelli, I was like, I would love to chat with her because I am one of the pickiest eaters in the world. I don't know if there's anyone pickier than myself. So Barbara, welcome to There's Food in the House.
Good morning, Adrian. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I'll let you share a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we can just jump right into it.
Okay, well, I have a company called Freekelicious, and I'll tell you how I got there.
I love it.
Yeah, I have always been a foodie. I'm 67 years old, and I have my mom to thank for that. I've always been exposed to new things, and she was always out there checking it out. So anyway, when I was old enough to do things on my own, I was very active in anything herbal, medicinal that I could do to make myself be better. And the best way to do that is through food. Through my life with my husband, my son, this is part of our daily lives. We always look at what we're eating. I know that sounds crazy, but we do. And how I arrived at my business was my husband came down with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they have to go through chemo and all of that. And I'm happy to say he's absolutely fine.
Awesome.
And
Wonderful.
we do things proactively with enzymes, with food, which really helped him through this. So anyway, after all of that, I was looking for new things, and that's when I arrived at the grain called Freeka, which is what started my business. At the moment, I didn't know that was going to happen. It was just a personal thing that I just wanted to add some great foods to our lives and not have it boring. That would help my husband. So with that said, everyone's different, and everyone has to, take themselves into account what's going to work best for you. And Adrian, you say that you're the pickiest eater.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And so what is that with? I mean, I'm asking you questions. What is that with? Is that with your eyes, with your taste, what is that?
So that's what I was waiting for you to finish because I didn't want to cut you off because I look at my food as well. So I can relate to that 1000% because I do eat with my eyes. So when I make a plate, you know, I like my brown, green, and orange. So it's like your meat, your vegetable, and
Okay.
something orange, macaroni and cheese, something like that, or corn, you know, whatever it is. But I do eat with my eyes as well. But my eyes, Barbara, are like, no, we don't.
Which is hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, and so I also have an issue with texture. So there are certain things. So I'm originally from Baltimore. You know, we're a huge seafood state. Well,
Okay.
state Maryland is the state, and but for me, so I it took me a long time to get to a place where I like shrimp because shrimp were chewy. You know, like the texture is a little chewy, and so I like shrimp now. But once the shrimp gets to a certain size, I don't want it anymore. So like the jumbo or the colossal, I don't want that, or lobster because it's,
You're the
I
opposite.
know. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. So, oh, let me tell you how bad it is, Barbara. So I love smoothies, right?
Mhm.
In my smoothie, I will put kale, spinach, strawberries, bananas, you know, you name it. A lot of the things that go into a traditional smoothie are in my smoothie. However, I will not eat them in real life. Like, I don't like kale. I don't like spinach. I don't eat strawberries. I don't eat bananas. Like, it's horrible, Barbara. Help me.
Wow. You know, I'm just the opposite. I need that texture.
Really?
So does everyone pretty much in my family. Yeah, I like to chew things. I like to know what I'm eating. And
Okay.
honestly, I'm not a smoothie person. Like, I'll do it, but it's just not for me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm not eating.
Wow.
And in a way, you're not. You know, you're getting the nutrients, but you know, that's just really crazy. Um, you know, you're not vegan, I presume.
No, no, I'm not vegan. No, I don't like vegetables like that, Barbara. No.
Okay. Well, the crazy thing is because they're making shrimp for vegans, and one of
How?
well, they're doing it. I don't know exactly what the ingredients are. I just know that they're mimicking many foods so that the real protein is not in there, so that a vegan
Okay.
can eat it. But the biggest complaint about it is funny because they don't like the texture. They
Oh.
don't like the texture of the shrimp. So it's interesting that you're saying that. So even though that I've tasted the shrimp, they're amazing. They taste
Mm-hmm.
just like a shrimp, but a vegan does not like that, or a
Mm.
vegetarian, and especially a vegetarian because they don't know what that's supposed to taste like.
Oh, right.
So they're
Okay.
just going on. But do you like crunchy things?
Some crunch. So, which types? Barbara. I mean,
I don't know, because that's where I would start with you. Like, what is it that you do like?
so I do like. So I like broccoli. Now, I promise you, I did not start eating broccoli until I was well into my 30s. But I do like broccoli.
Wow.
I absolutely love cucumbers. Cucumbers, I had a cucumber vine in my backyard that my grandfather had planted for me. So I absolutely love cucumbers. Green beans, I like. Let's see. Are we only talking green? Well, not even other things. Because
Well, not just greens, just
yeah,
like, what's your diet like? Like
my
what?
diet is horrible. My husband laughs because he says I eat everything and I eat nothing. So I eat, so what the things that I do like, I eat a lot, but I don't experiment truly at all. And I'll say this and you'll probably laugh because I'm laughing. I know um, it was mentioned in your bio. It says, all I really need to know I learned in kindergarten. So it's so funny because for me, eating carrots and things like carrots specifically taste like what dirt would taste like to me. Like
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I'm like, this is just, so I guess maybe my issue is with more earthy type things. I don't really do.
Okay. Like beets and different things like that.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you have that smoothie for breakfast?
I have smoothies a couple of times a day. Like when
Wow.
have it. Yeah, like I'll because I do appreciate. I like the taste. So initially, when I started, I obviously put too much kale in it, but
Mhm.
going by the recipe. So the recipe might have called for 2 large leaves of kale, and so I did that, and it was just disgusting. But then, as time went on, I was able to adjust the amount of kale or the amount of spinach that I put. That spinach really doesn't necessarily have a taste, so I
Yeah.
the kale that I really had to adjust. But once I made the adjustments, it's delicious to me. Like I love the smoothie, and I just like I said, I won't eat those things in real life. I know
Wow. And what do you put in there as far as fruit?
strawberries, peaches, banana, grapes.
A lot of sugar. A lot of sugar.
Well, no, this won't be. They're not
No?
all the same. Like these are just what I use overall. So I have
Right, right.
specific recipes for the smoothie. So like there'll be a smoothie that will have kale, strawberry, banana, or there'll be like spinach, grapes, and peaches. Like it's not all of those fruits in there together at the same
Right.
time.
Did you ever look at Kelly LeVac, the Body Love? Because she's a big smoothie person,
No, I'll have to
pretty
look that up.
popular now.
Okay.
Um, so that would be a good person for you to look at. And she has many different options for, for smoothies.
Okay.
But the key factor in all of that is the sugar element. So even
Mm-hmm.
putting strawberries and bananas in the same smoothie is, and like I said, everyone is different. So you would really, the best way to do that is to have a blood test and monitor, what works, best for you. But when you eat protein, what are you eating?
So I like fish. I like chicken.
Okay.
And in my smoothies, I will add a protein. Like I'll add a scoop of protein into my smoothies.
Okay.
I do like steak. I don't eat it really often at all, but I do like steak. Like I'm not opposed to steak.
Right.
I like steak. And I use a lot of turkey products. So I use ground turkey in my spaghetti or my lasagna when I make those things. I don't use beef too much at all. Outside of steak, I really won't use beef. So I don't use ground beef. I don't use,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Yeah, I have very little beef in our
mhm,
diet. And, I'm not really anything. I'm everything-ish.
right.
So there's times
Yes.
I can be more vegan-ish, or I can
Mhm.
be, do basically, like I said, what works for us. But, when you do eat any kind of beef, it's always best to look for not only grass-fed, but grass-finish, which is a
Oh.
huge difference. And most people
I've never heard of that. What's the
know
difference?
what
What is,
that
I've
is.
never heard of
Well,
that.
for the last 6 months of the animal's life, they don't necessarily have to keep eating the grass fed. It's a very, I don't even know what to say. The law is very lenient on
Hmm.
the grass fed. So they can eat grass fed their whole life. For that last 6 months, they could be shipped elsewhere.
Oh,
So in that last 6 months, who knows?
oh, got it. Okay. Okay.
So with
That's
grass
interesting.
finish means that it's all the way through. The process has gone all the way through, and it's 100% grass fed.
Now, is that on the packaging as well? So if I go to the
Uh,
beef department, would that be on the packaging?
Usually not.
Okay.
The best way to do that is through a butcher that you know, but there are people online that do this. So you could just Google grass finish, and you'll find ways to get that. But that's the whole thing about eating now, which I'm loving. It's all those little things that
Yes.
you need to know. So
Right.
just because someone's telling you that something's good, especially vegan products, I mean, they're getting better and better, but a lot of them are just really not good for you. Yeah, you're not eating, you know, meat or anything
Hmm.
dairy, but you're eating like terrible tapioca starch and potato starch and like all these horrible things that you would never want to eat, especially fried things. A lot of things, vegan things, are fried too. um, but um, I don't know, like, do you have any health issues, or you're just,
I don't.
which is fabulous, I mean, so
It is. It's amazing. And I'll tell you, I think that a lot of my palate issues happened as a child. So, and it wasn't even necessarily that I was raised by my grandparents who are from the South. So we had, Barbara, everything in the house. My grandmother she kept a deep freezer, right? And so at
Mhm.
the time you could go in the deep freezer, there would be, oh, I don't want the people to get me, but there would be, some animals
Right,
in
right,
the freezer.
right,
They did the chitlins and the pork products and things of that nature. And I mean, and this was real. So it could be, you wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and just smell the stench of, like pig throughout the house.
wow.
And so, like that was a turn off for me. Then I remember it clear as day. There was an aunt of mine that was making some fried corn. Are you familiar with fried corn?
Hmm.
And so she was making some fried corn and she burnt it horribly, but still fed it to us. And so there were a lot of little things in my life that happened. But for some reason also, there are things that I ate as a child that I really haven't touched as an adult. Like my grandmother would cut up fresh cantaloupe, which I always loved, but then I just kind of moved away from the cantaloupe as I got older. There were other things that I did eat, but then just as I grew up, I was just like not interested in it anymore.
Right. Why would you go away from cantaloupe though?
I have no idea.
Are you familiar with The Medical Medium?
No.
Great book
Okay.
and really a great read for anybody. But he believes that melons are one of the best detoxes ever because you're taking
Mm.
all of that water, because it's not 100% water, but melon, I don't know the exact facts, but it's probably like 90% water, and fiber, and then your body naturally detoxes.
Nice.
So, the thing about everything, and I mean, I do this with everything. I just
Hmm.
rotate through things.
Oh.
Um, and I'm not a melon person, but I have to tell you, it's in my refrigerator right now. So it's like, okay, I saw melons at the market. Like, that's how I buy things, how they look and how fresh they are. And they looked really good. They smelled great. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. It would be a great detox for all of us. So that's how I think, and for you with having all these issues, don't you miss chewing with all these smoothies? I still can't believe that you have so many of those. Don't you bite
Well,
into something? When I say crunch, do you like, say like a crab cake or
oh, I
something
love
like
crab
that?
cakes.
Okay,
Yes.
so you love crab cake. So
Yes.
why not expand on the idea of the crab cake? And to that crab cake, why can't you just throw in spinach in like that? It's all, you can even pulverize that, but put it in that so that
And
you eat something. And no,
well, no,
like that's
I'm
how
not
I was.
opposed to it. So I think, and again, I think what you're helping me to realize is a lot of it is probably mental, because I'll tell you
Oh,
certain things I have, an answer, maybe like a form letter kind of answer, but it's still an answer in my mind. I feel like I'm giving you an answer. So my
okay.
answer for spinach is, I feel like for spinach with me, I have an issue with the stems. And I think when I look at spinach, I look at it and I see it as something that I'm not necessarily supposed to eat. So maybe not that I don't like the taste necessarily, but maybe the visual of it is what's holding me back.
Okay. Do you eat salad?
Oh, I love salad.
Do
But then,
you like romaine lettuce?
yeah, I do use romaine. Yes, I was using iceberg for a long time because that's just what I was raised on.
Okay.
But over the last few years, I have moved over to romaine. I love romaine. My salads will consist of lettuce, almonds, cucumbers, cheese, whatever the protein, the meat is that I add in it, onion.
Do you eat tofu at all?
Do I eat? I'm sorry.
Tofu at all?
No, I don't eat tofu.
Or tempeh? None of that stuff? because that's real.
No.
It's really good for you.
Mhm.
As a substitute, because everybody's trying to do some plant-based, but that's something that you can make that, I call it a chameleon, because you can make it be whatever you want to be for
Mhm.
protein. So if there's things that you like, throwing that in your salad is a great thing, like cubed, or I happen to live in a area that's predominantly Asian.
Mhm.
So we have like a lot of those things available to us in many, many different forms. But that's what I'm always concerned about. You don't want a lot of protein, but you need like enough in your salad. And even in the smoothies, you're using dairy in the smoothie or non-dairy? What do
It's
you
a
use?
non-dairy protein.
Okay.
There's a vegan protein that I use, and not
Okay. So your almond milk and coconut milk and
no. I use and that's I do my smoothies with water.
oh,
So
you do? Great. So what's your protein in there then?
so I use
The
the
powder?
yeah, the
The
powder
powder.
protein. Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
I do filtered water with my smoothies. I don't necessarily have an aversion to milk, but I'm not a milk
Good. I
100%
mean,
of the
that's
time.
one thing people should be mindful of, that if,
Hmm.
everyone can't be organic or whatever, or doesn't want to be, or, really, I mean, it's expensive to buy everything organic, but milk is one of the things, 100% should be organic.
Awesome. Okay.
We don't drink milk in this house, but if for whatever reason, that always would be a great thing. But like, just an example, last night I used Impossible Burger
Hmm.
meat,
Which my
which I
husband
like that.
loves. My
I
husband
love
doesn't do beef or
Impossible
pork.
when excellent. When it comes to a burger, I like Impossible. If I want another form of it, a sausage, whatever, I like Beyond. It's funny, I don't like them both equally in the same area. To get
Okay.
the vegetables in there, I'm not a big spinach person. It's not that I don't like spinach. I eat it. I eat it most of the time. When I do, it's raw. It's in a salad. But I'm a big Swiss chard person, which has a completely different stem, which has a stem more like romaine lettuce, which is why I asked you that.
Okay.
It's very sweet. It's actually very beautiful. It's this big, huge leaf, and there is a more bang for your buck than spinach. I mean, it's a lot better for you. So I would try that. And like, I make these cakes. I haven't made them in a while, but a lot of times a way to get that in. Yeah, I started, but let me stay on track with what I made last night. So I
That's
sliced
fine.
zucchini.
We're good. It's
I
okay.
sliced zucchini. I had red peppers. I had some Swiss chard. I chopped that with a shallot into the Impossible Burger. And I put, different spices. I might have even put this Inami thing that I buy from Manitoba. There's a lot of different packages for flavoring of spices. Anyway, I put that in there, and then I layered in some zucchini, red peppers, and I used all the same vegetables, and I layered them in, and I used vegan cheeses
Hmm.
to kind of make it stick, so we had like this quasi lasagna meatloaf kind of thing, and it was delicious.
Oh, okay. It
So you
sounds
get
good.
all your stuff in there, and you're combining it with other things, and we had a big salad, and then I had another thing with vegetables with broccoli, because we always have like a ton of vegetables, and I made like a salad out of that. So I try to always make things simple as I
Okay.
can. And the reason that I put all those vegetables together, because I had them. Otherwise, normally I do everything separately. I
Mhm.
don't want to overwhelm my palate while I'm
Okay.
eating.
Right.
Um, so I would say too, like, greens are such a huge thing. Like, if you could try, other things and incorporate them into something you do like, so it makes it less painful. And you're right about that. It's your mind, because I think I must have been, I want to say 9 or 10, because everybody was receiving communion. I'm Catholic, and so it was May, and I remember going to my cousin's communion party, and there was a huge bowl of strawberries, and I was eating these strawberries like crazy. Well, that night I came down with the German measles.
Oh no.
And I'll tell you, I didn't eat strawberries till I was in my 20s.
Oh, wow.
Because I associated that illness
Right.
with those strawberries. So when you're
Right.
saying that it's your mind, it definitely is, but that's a contract you can break in your mind. Because we know how
Love
that
that.
brain,
Contract you can break. I love that.
you can break those contracts because that's all they are. And you just keep saying it over and over. And sometimes you just got to force yourself a little bit. But if you do it in an environment that you're comfortable with, you'll do it. Because my husband we both worked in New York City. He'd wait for the hot dog lady every day, get his hot dog. Like, his habits were horrible. And he's on board with all of this. And, he's eating like vegan mayo, loving it. You got to find what tastes good and what works for you. But just try it. Don't be afraid to try. Just try it. You can always just toss it out.
That's why I was excited about this call, because I really did. When she sent the information over, I was just like, this is someone that I need to speak with. This is someone I need in my life.
Yeah, because even my son, when he was little, he hated vegetables, hated them. And it was a challenge. He loves sushi, so I could get it into him that way. But, the raw fish had to go with it. But now he's 28 years old. He couldn't have a better diet. And it's only from watching us and just putting it out there. Like, I never said you have to eat this. Never.
Wonderful. Okay.
But because, like anything, your actions do it, not what you say. Your actions.
That's
100%, 1,000%.
So I know that I kind of caught you off guard with my eating habits, but before I let you go, I wanted to really touch base back on Freeka, because I've never heard of it before. And, obviously we come up with our names however we come up with them. And so when I saw Freekelicious, especially the way it was spelled, I didn't put much thought into it because I was just like, okay, that's the name. It is what it is.
Right,
but then to say Freeka is a grain, I'm like, it is?
What is that? So Freeka is a grain, and it's of Mideastern origin, actually Lebanon. And the story goes like this. They were under siege like 4,000 years ago, which they're still kind of doing today. And, they were fearful that they would lose their crops. So they cut down all the wheat prematurely and they hid it so that when they left, they would come back and they would find their wheat. Well, what happened was, out in the desert, it combusted from the heat and it was all burnt.
Oh, no.
They started just rubbing the shafts of the wheat, and then the wheat berries were falling out, and it was all they had to eat. So they started to eat it, and they were feeling great, and it was sustaining them. So Freeka actually means to rub in Arabic. That's where the name comes from. So that was the birth of Freeka. The reason that we didn't really know too much about it here in the States is it's burned on the ground when they do it. So there's a lot of stones and twigs in it. So it's like lentils. To have it and produce it here is a big deal. So when I first started this, I wanted it first because it's very high in fiber, very high in protein. It has some amino acids, and I think it's delicious. Is it pretty to look at? It's not the prettiest grain I've ever seen because it's dark. It comes in two forms. It's cracked and it's whole. And I go back and forth myself on my preferences, but one takes longer to cook, like brown rice, which is the whole, and the cracked cooks fast, like white
brown rice gives me a headache.
It does. Okay. So what I tell people to do with this is use it in a product where you would use rice or where you would use bread. Like, I'm of Italian descent. So, my family's big on stuffing artichokes. So I would take the cracked Freeka and I would mix it with everything I would do to make this: parsley, eggs, garlic, all of that. and then stuff my artichoke instead of using bread. And it's amazing. People love it. Everyone that looks at Freeka goes, I don't know. And I suspect it would definitely be one of those people. But everybody that tastes it, you see it on their faces. They're eating it. They're like, wow, this is really good. This is really, really good.
So does it look like a rice? Like, is that kind of the form?
No, it's wheat. It's actually wheat. So what happens is it's picked prematurely. So I can't say it doesn't have gluten in it, but it has like a trace pretty much of gluten, because nothing has developed in the actual kernel yet. So that's why it's being passed to us when we eat it, because if you just let it go, then all those nutrients would go to the flowering of the wheat.
Oh, okay, got it.
And if that makes sense. And then the also thing that people love about Freeka too, it's a big thing in Weight Watchers now because it's high in fiber, which is like a hard thing to get. And a lot of people just sprinkle it in their salad. So if you want to, you actually could send me your email and I could send you some, so you could try it. And so, people sprinkle it in their salads and then that's how they get their fiber.
Very nice.
But it's always in my refrigerator because you can make it like on Sunday and then you could have it for the whole week. You could have it with yogurt. You could have it with, your vegetables, whatever. So that's how it started. And I didn't mean for it to be a business. I was taking my son to college. I was in his dorm room. We were unpacking and Whole Foods called me and I was almost annoyed because I was busy. And I was like, what? And they were like, could you come in? We want it. So we've been in there since 2010.
That's so awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's crazy, but it's good because that's what I want to do. I want to help people have better diets.
That is so wonderful. Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Barbara. Thank you so much. Let everyone know where they can find you, how they can connect with you.
Okay, you can find us at freekelicious.com, and it will tell you all about the Freeka, all the benefits, and you can buy it at Whole Foods or you can buy it online at Amazon. Be well, everyone, and eat healthy. Bye.
Barbara, thank you so much for speaking with us at There's Food in the House. I look forward to the comments and everything that everyone has to say when they hear about my poor food choices.
Thank you for having me, Adrienne.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. If it's made for the real, it's forever gon' fit. We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. We lit, we ain't never gon' switch. If it's made for the real, it's forever gon' fit. Ooh, if it's lit, then I'm signing up. I just knock them down, Adrian can line them up. If you search for real talk, then you're finding us. Thanks for reminding us, ain't no outshining us, it's different. I know you feeling something missing. Them shows only talk, they don't listen. You need something warm, like a hot meal from the south. Like a summer rain in a drought. Some real talk that can make a nigga proud. Thoughts out loud, we ain't doing it for the clout. That food for the soul, gotta take a different route. You don't need nothing fast, we got food at the house. I'm just saying though, we got food at the house. Yeah, we got food at the house.